The text blinked on my phone, a small burst of cruelty disguised as casual disdain. "You're embarrassing, stay away from me tonight." I stared at the words as if staring too long might somehow make them disappear. My thumb hovered over the keyboard, wanting to reply, to argue, to plead, but nothing came. I felt frozen, a mixture of shock and a hollow ache deep in my chest that made it hard to breathe. I had known Sarah for 12 years, married for 8, and never had I imagined her using such words against me. Not like this. Not ever. That night, the apartment was silent in a way that felt almost oppressive. The faint hum of the refrigerator was the only sound as I sat at the edge of our bed, staring at the empty pillow beside me. Normally we would laugh at some dumb thing on TV, sip wine and fall asleep entwined. But tonight the warmth was gone. The laughter, the comfort, the shared history. It was all replaced by the sharp sting of rejection. I remembered the argument earlier in the evening, though now it seemed trivial compared to the emotional wound left behind. She had come home late from what she said was just a work meeting, looking restless and distant. I had tried to tease her, to ask about her day, and she snapped, her voice tight with irritation. "I don't want to talk right now. Just stay out of my way." I had laughed awkwardly, trying to lighten the tension, but she had rolled her eyes and walked away. And now the message on my phone confirmed what my heart already feared. She wanted space from me. I couldn't sleep. I tried reading, tried watching TV, even tried calling a friend, but my mind kept circling back to her words, to the way her face had looked. Tight-lipped, distant, almost different. I felt a knot forming in my stomach, a warning I didn't want to acknowledge. By midnight, the unease had grown unbearable. I picked up my keys and left the apartment, not knowing where I was going, only knowing I needed air, needed movement, needed something other than the suffocating silence. The city streets were nearly empty, cold and indifferent under the streetlights. I walked aimlessly, replaying every small interaction with her over the past few weeks. The forgotten anniversaries, the little lies about where she had been, the way she sometimes laughed at things I didn't find funny. Pieces of a puzzle I hadn't wanted to see. It was when I returned home, exhausted and emotionally raw, that I noticed something odd. Her laptop, usually locked and closed, sat on the kitchen counter, open. And then my heart sank. I saw it. The name in her messages. The way she typed to him as if I didn't exist. First I couldn't understand. Couldn't believe it. This had to be a mistake. But the conversation scrolled before me. Intimate, flirtatious, full of secrets I had never been part of. "I can't wait to see you again. Tonight felt too short. I wish you were here with me now." It was her, Sarah, writing to someone else. My stomach dropped, my chest tightened, and I felt something inside me break, a brittle, sharp thing I didn't think I could put back together. I sat there for what felt like hours, reading through her messages, piecing together weeks of lies, rehearsing the words she had whispered in my ear while her heart was elsewhere. The betrayal wasn't physical yet, but the emotional violence was more brutal than any punch, any scream, any fight I had endured. I didn't confront her immediately. I needed to understand, to breathe, to process. The hurt was too deep to simply erupt in anger. I tried calling her once, but she ignored it. Tried texting a few times, but her responses were clipped, dismissive. Each word felt like a hammer striking at my chest. I need space. Stop overthinking things. Overthinking. I wasn't overthinking. I was seeing the truth, a truth she was too cowardly to admit aloud. The next morning, I waited for her to leave. She didn't. She lingered, pretending as though nothing had happened, pouring herself a cup of coffee with that practiced casualness that now seemed like mockery. I looked at her, really looked, trying to see the woman I had loved for so long. But the reflection staring back at me felt like a stranger, a woman who had been living a double life without a shred of guilt. "Sarah," I said quietly, my voice tighter than I intended. "We need to talk." She looked up, her eyes guarded. "About what?" she asked, though I knew she knew exactly what I meant. "The messages." "I saw them," I said, my voice breaking despite my effort to stay steady. She froze for a moment, then laughed lightly, almost like a shrug. I don't know why you're making such a big deal out of nothing. It wasn't serious. I laughed too, but it was bitter. Not serious. Asked, my throat tight. You've been hiding this from me. Talking to him behind my back. Isn't that serious? Her expression hardened. The warmth I remembered vanished. You're embarrassing yourself. I don't want to deal with this right now. Just stay away tonight. And there it was. The same line, sharper in the morning light. Only now it wasn't just a text. It was her attitude, her defiance, her complete disregard for what we had. Something inside me shifted. I realized painfully that I had been clinging to illusions, to the idea that love could withstand deception, that trust was a given. But trust had been violated, and love without trust was hollow, a shadow of what it once was. Over the next few days, I watched her carefully, searching for signs, evidence, anything that could confirm the worst. I became meticulous, almost obsessively so. Phone calls, emails, the subtle scent of someone else's cologne lingering on her sweater. I noticed everything. And the evidence accumulated, undeniable and painful. I remember the day it became physical, the undeniable proof of betrayal that made my blood run cold. I had picked up her tablet to check a recipe for dinner, and accidentally opened a document she had left unsaved. And there it was. A draft message addressed to him, unsent but complete. Words of longing, plans to meet, confessions of feelings she claimed I would never understand. My hands shook, and I felt my vision blur. The woman I thought I knew had been lying to me for months, possibly years. I didn't confront her immediately. I left the house and drove aimlessly, my mind a storm of grief, rage, disbelief, and sorrow. I thought of the years we had spent together, the laughter, the shared secrets, the late-night talks, the plans for the future. And I realized that those moments had been real, but they had been intertwined with lies. My heart ached not just for what she had done, but for the betrayal of memory itself, the rewriting of our past with deception. When I finally faced her, it was silent, tense, almost cinematic in its simplicity. I didn't shout. I didn't cry. I just held up the tablet. She saw instantly the truth in my eyes. Why? I asked, my voice low, trembling. Her face flickered. A shadow of guilt, maybe, but quickly replaced by defensiveness. It's complicated, she said, evasive. I didn't mean to hurt you. Didn't mean to hurt me. I echoed, disbelief lacing every word. You hid this from me. You lied. Every smile, every kiss, every night, was it all fake? She hesitated, then finally spoke, her voice quieter. I don't know. I didn't plan for it to go this far. And in that moment, I realized the depth of the chasm between us. This wasn't about one night, one mistake. It was a fundamental shift in who we were to each other, a breach that could never be mended with apologies or excuses. I left that night. Not out of anger, though anger was there, a roaring undercurrent. I left because staying would have been submission, a continuation of a life built on illusions. I drove until the city lights blurred, until the hum of the tires against the asphalt became a rhythm I could lose myself in. In the weeks that followed, I confronted the full scope of her betrayal. Friends confirmed suspicions I had been too afraid to name aloud. Her confessions, half-hearted and evasive, revealed more than she intended. I grieved not just for the marriage, but for the self I had been while married, the version of me who trusted blindly, who loved without reservation, who believed in the sanctity of us. The hardest part was the quiet moments, the ones that came without warning. A song on the radio, a scent in a store, a corner of the apartment we had decorated together. Each one brought back memories tainted by betrayal, a reminder of the person I had been before everything collapsed. But I also discovered something in the wreckage. A sense of clarity. A recognition that my worth was not defined by someone else's deception, that love without respect and trust was poison, and that healing would require more than just time. It would require truth, self-reflection, and courage. Months later, when I finally faced her one last time to collect the remnants of what had once been ours, I felt a strange sense of calm. There was no reconciliation, no pleas, no anger, only the quiet acknowledgement of reality. She looked at me, eyes filled with a mixture of regret and defensiveness, and I realized that the woman I loved was gone, replaced by someone I no longer recognized. I walked away without looking back. Not because I didn't feel the sting of betrayal, it still lingered, but because I had chosen myself over the illusion, integrity over lies. And for the first time since that text, that night she had told me I was embarrassing, I felt free, not triumphant, not joyful, but free. Some scars never fade. Some wounds never fully heal. But from that pain I learned to trust my instincts, to value honesty above comfort, and to know that the heart can survive even the deepest betrayal. And somewhere deep down I promised myself that one day I would love again. But it would be love built on truth, respect, and the kind of trust that could never be shattered by a single text, a single lie, or a single night of deception. Because betrayal had taught me the hardest, cruelest truth of all. Love is not enough.